how many agents that we speak to that think that then when they go to a different brokerage, they're going to expect a different result. Same thing. We can find top producers at every brokerage, but it's the vehicle. If you are somebody doing great, but you want to take it to the next level, then you come to a brokerage like ours, where it gives you a vehicle to completely do your business and customize it the way you like it.
When it comes to the difference between high-performing, top-producing agents and low-performing agents who are struggling to close their next deals, there is one major difference between the two of them, which is that anytime you talk to a successful real estate agent, almost all of them will tell you that they live by their CRM. Every time I speak to an agent that is struggling, they all say they never use their CRM. So today I brought on Tharmila Rajasingam, who has an incredible YouTube channel, which I will link below, who dives into all kinds of tactical strategies you can do that are easy in order to become familiar with your CRM. And today she's going to break down best practices of how you can get started today in order to start to use your CRM effectively to generate more business, close online leads, and nurture clients to get repeat and referrals. This is the number one skill set that you need to learn if you want to build a scalable and predictable real estate business. So before we get started, two quick things. Number one, I will link Tharmila's incredible YouTube channel below because again, it is a wealth of knowledge, and I'm going to link her calendar link below in case you would like to book a call with her to talk one-on-one about getting her help to build out your CRM with you. So without further ado, let's dive into all things kvCORE and a CRM. But even though this is focused on kvCORE, the same principles usually apply to almost any single CRM. So if you're not using kvCORE, that's fine. Just relate these principles and practices to your CRM. So let's get into it and show you how to use a CRM properly. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another exciting interview. We've got a returning guest today, somebody that many have been asking for, because at the end of the day, we all know that the biggest disconnect from top producers and low producers is top producers live by their CRM and low to no producers never even open their CRM. So really excited to have Tharmila Rajasingam back on here, who's the queen of kvCORE, and really excited to really kind of redefine what it is to use your CRM properly, automation, systems, processes, and what agents need to do in order to build a scalable business. So Tharmila, what's going on?
Thank you so much for having me. Always grateful to be with you, and recently seeing you in person again, but for the fifth time. So it's good. Thank you for having me.
Of course, no, excited to have you back. You know, it's been probably like 2 years now since we did our other one, and people absolutely loved it. And I know that, you know, your skill set is really strengthened even since then, and what you've been able to prove and do and help others with kvCORE. So, you know, before diving into the tactical, I'd love for you to just kind of unpack who you are, where you're from, what kind of got you to this point, what you're currently doing, and then we'll dive in.
Yeah. I kind of talked about this. My husband and I, we were real estate investors, and we both had our own full-time jobs, you know, doing that on the side, and, you know, and then learning a little bit about how people, other investors were working in the space. We wanted to get our license, have access to more information. And then once we got our license, you know, the typical, we wanted to just do a couple of deals here and there. And then my husband, Josh, who you probably see on our social media accounts, we work together as a domestic team here at EXP. And he watched a lot of your content, a lot of other people who were in this space that were talking about investments, who were talking about marketing and, you know, process and how to be a good real estate agent, strategies. And he's like, have you heard of Mike Sherrard? And, you know, and when obviously we met, the whole concept of EXP, when you hear it, when you see it, I am that person that immediately saw my future ahead of me, you know, and everything. And I'm that person who I knew I wasn't going to be in my 9-to-5 forever. And so immediately I saw all the opportunities of how I could be of service to people with the skill set that I have. And so that's kind of how everything trickled out to be. And for me, kind of this process, system, CRM kind of came to light is because I worked in CRMs before, many CRMs. And if anything, I worked with many bigger CRMs like Salesforce, SAPs, and HubSpot, those kind of things. But when you look at a CRM that's like kvCORE, that's specialized for real estate, it's a little bit of a game changer. And for me, and funny, I remember, you know, meeting with you and my little guy, Josh and I, and my little newborn at the time was 3 months, and he was laying in the bed, and, you know, having to be a mom with young children. I had a newborn and a toddler at the time. I had a full-time job. I also learned about this EXP thing and how it's going to run my business. I wanted to work with agents, but I also at the same time, I wanted to do my own deals. I wanted to grow my portfolio. How do I do all of this and do it effectively? So I need to automate some of my tasks. So, and this is where kvCORE came, and why not take advantage of systems that you have in front of you that you're paying for? And I started to automate a lot of the tasks to make my life easier. And so I started to close deals that way. And then obviously, and then coming on your channel and starting to do tutorials on kvCORE, because once you learn something and when you become an expert at it, it's a shame if you don't share that with other people. And I started to teach a lot of other real estate agents in my own group. And I started to set up kvCORE for people. And then now, 2 years later, I've been on EXP University. I teach on a regular basis. I'm also a digital marketing instructor now for a college. And I started to take a lot of those strategies and started to bring it to agents to teach them. And to me, and having taught now over, thousands of agents and looking at what works and what doesn't and looking at common problems, I want to bring that to the forefront here and share those information with all of you, because I think there's a missed opportunity here. And for me, when there's a missed opportunity, I look at the opportunity of the growth that's ahead of us that we can take advantage of, right? And kind of looking at it from that perspective. And so that's kind of where we are right now. And I'm really passionate about this content. And I love that concept of going into anything with, that Plato mindset of I know nothing. So you learn more out of it. So that's where I am. And I'll do my best to share as much as I can with all of you.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that. And it's been amazing to see that you've now helped thousands of agents with this. And I think that's the most important part is like, if it doesn't duplicate, it doesn't matter. If you can do these crazy things with your CRM, but nobody else can, then, that's not really, that advantageous to speak about. But the fact that you've been able to duplicate your success with your CRM with so many people is, proof in the pudding. So, before kind of diving in, I think one of the things that would really set the tone is talking about some stats. Because, it's pretty mind-blowing. Again, as I kind of echoed in the beginning, every time I speak to a top producing agent that's doing 50 to 100 million a year solo or more, they say that they live by the CRM, repeat and referral. They're in their database every single day. And every time I talk to a new agent who is struggling or an experienced agent that's still not doing at least 20 deals a year, they're flying by the seat of their pants. They're hanging on by a thread waiting for the next deal, and they rarely open their CRM. So do you want to kind of set the tone with that a little bit about some pretty interesting stats that I know that you're privy to?
Yeah, absolutely. I can share some high-level stats that I hear from just attending events and updates. And I work closely with Inside Real Estate, which is the parent company of kvCORE. And I even had the privilege of attending Shareholder Summit to speak, on kvCORE and train a lot of agents through EXP as well. And so, when I hear some of these stats, it's mind-blowing. But again, to me, is that I don't look at the part of what's not working. I think about the opportunity that's ahead of us. And, at EXP, with the amount of agents we have, about 90,000 agents currently at EXP, and, the stats that are coming out is like half of them log in on a monthly basis, and that's great information. But at the same time, when you have tools that you have in front of you and that you're not using, it boggles my mind. And that's why when I meet with agents who are, I met with 2 agents alone this week who are asking me to help them with their kvCORE, and I ask a lot of questions, where are you in your business, and what's working for you and what isn't, and how are you using the tools that you currently have available to you. And it boggles my mind that they have there's a gap between how they want to run their business and what tools that they're using for. So it's really important. But I also want to dive into that over 60 million contacts currently have access to with EXP agents inside kvCORE. That's amazing, right? And almost 7,300 agents currently at EXP generate 10 plus leads a month. So it's kind of going back to the basics of, the concepts of 80% of agents do, or like 1% or 2% of agents do 80% of deals. It's kind of going back to that concept. So there's a massive opportunity. And, we talked about this recently about, with thousands of agents leaving and it's a separation season. And as the market tightens, a lot of people, this is a point where people give up on their business and they think that they can, think about long-term and they lose grip. CRM, process, system, solid foundation is what's going to help you thrive in market like this,
Yeah, definitely. And the only other stat that I think is really cool is how many people actually open their CRM. Do you want to touch on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is, again, people thinking and not understanding the importance of CRM in their business. The amount of people, having access to a tool is one thing. You have to put your trust in action and pursue the power of pursuit. And I think that's where we're all at, is people think that, and that expectations they have, the CRM is going to magically do their business for you, and hire VAs to kind of do their CRM for them, or hire somebody to set up their CRM. And which is why I would love to talk about the whole concept of redefining the setup with kvCORE, because I think people have a completely, a misconception when it comes to that. And I want to dive a little bit into that too, but absolutely. And the reason why people aren't logging into is because, again, they don't understand their business enough.
Definitely. And what was the stat on that one?
Yeah, half of the people that are currently have access to kvCORE, only half of them open up on a monthly basis.
That's
insane. Log in.
That's insane. And that should be, your bread and butter. That should be where you're managing everything. And I think that's why so many agents have a system and process issue, and they complain that they're so overwhelmed and they can't get ahead of their business because they're not even doing something to get ahead of their business. So let's kind of talk about that. You did a perfect segue into, redefining setup, and then we can go into, sharing your screen and showing some of the tools that you recommend.
Absolutely. I think it's a word that's constantly used, that setup, and people think that it's this elaborate thing and that there's a process to this. And there is a process to everything. But when it comes to setting up your kvCORE, luckily, when you come to a brokerage like eXp, you have access to kvCORE, which I do want to dive into for those people that don't know what kvCORE is the number one rated real estate technology in the world. It's a, people think it's a CRM first, but it's a tool, a platform that's to drive your entire business operations and business through this. And it includes your website, which is your front facing, that lead capture that for simple terms. And then you have the lead generation tools that are within kvCORE to help you with your business. There's lots of free tools and there's lots of paid as well, so they can help you automate some of your tasks. It's also a task management that a lot of people don't think about, right? It alleviates a lot of those nuances and a lot of things that keeps you away from building those relationships and focusing on those income producing activities. And it's also a nurturing tool. And the beautiful part about kvCORE is that we think that we have a lead generation problem. Like, look at that stats I shared with you. eXp agents have over 60 million contacts inside of kvCORE. Mind-boggling. So we don't have a lead generation problem. You know what problem we have? A conversion problem, a follow-up problem, a nurturing problem. And guess what? I have a solution for you. You can, with a click of a button on all of that, and activate that immediately. So your computer, the system, the technology is going to do the follow-up for you. So it's super easy. It's super, all done for you, and which is awesome. And the other thing is you can track your transactions. You can share the listings that you have access to through MLS. A lot of people tell me is that, oh, I don't have my own listings. How do I market? How do I build? You have hundreds and thousands of listings that are going on the market on a daily basis. Those are the tools you're going to use to promote them, and kvCORE helps you do that. And so that's kind of what I wanted to start off with and tell people, is that you have access to the mobile app, you have access to the open house app. So anytime you're going to any of these, even if it's not your own open house that you're supporting another agent with, take these tools with you and get these relationships and people you're meeting directly into your database. Guess what? You can meet as many people as you like, but if they're not in the back end of your kvCORE in your CRM to nurture, you missed an integral part of that journey.
Yeah, that's super powerful. I think, one of the things I'm a huge advocate of is the concept of focusing on one thing at a time. And I think a lot of agents, get overwhelmed when it comes to a CRM, any CRM, let alone kvCORE, where they go in for 10 minutes and they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And then they're gone. And, the whole thing that has at least built my business is focusing on one thing at a time until you have it dialed in, and not focusing on anything else. Like, if an agent took the next 1-2 weeks and spent 30 minutes to 60 minutes a day in their CRM, like intentively looking at this, you never have an issue again. Like, you'd be able to get it set up properly. You'd be able to learn the systems. You'd be able to learn the workflows, set it up and tailor it to your business. And a lot of agents just aren't willing to take that 2-week break from some of their other distractions to focus all in on this to get it dialed in. So, for the people that are willing to get going on this, let's talk about what people can do on a daily basis, because I think a lot of people think, oh my God, I need to have this massive, robust, set up, dialed in like all these $1 million producers from day one, but it's really not the case. Like you can get started pretty quickly and start to actually build momentum with this.
Absolutely. And I think kvCORE, because it's being an overwhelming, it's just a CRM, and I get it with any CRM. And if you haven't been in this market, if you haven't worked with people, if you haven't, worked in this kind of settings where you had privy to like and had been comfortable with CRMs like me, that's why when I came into kvCORE immediately, I took the concepts and strategies that I've learned and been around for over a decade, and I just had to learn the really the tools of how it works with kvCORE, but the concepts and strategies are still there. So for me, that's why I created courses and I started doing trainings, because I realized that some of the ways that kvCORE it is as a platform is complex, it is overwhelming, and I completely get it. So one of the steps that I wanted to do was simplify it, and that's why more recently I created master classes on how to simplify kvCORE. It's free, by the way. If you want access to them, I can send you links. And they're a really simple way to look at kvCORE. And the first thing to do is kind of going back to that stat, is log into your kvCORE. You'd be very surprised how every single one of our kvCORE and our CRMs and our system look different. It's because we understand our business, and when we start to apply these concepts and we start to use the tools that are meant to drive our business forward, you start getting insights, you start to gather insights, and that gets you excited. I don't know about you, but the moment I log into kvCORE, the dashboard tells me immediately such and such person looked at a property, they favorited a property, they came back for the third time looking at 3 other properties, and those are information, those are insights. So first and foremost, log in, input and add your contacts, anyone that you have available, obviously with consent, into your database, and start to nurture them. And going back to that task management concept, start to assign yourself tasks. I guarantee you this, a lot of time people miss out on that journey of conversion, is because they spoke to the lead, they had a great time, okay, in 3 months I'll call you back, and they call them back maybe 6 months later, and then they close down that property, or they forgot to call them back. So put in a reminder, instead of 3 months, call them back in 2 months, and kvCORE again could do that for you. And add a note in, every time you speak to people, you can add some notes, and these are really simple way to start using kvCORE. And then the other way is to get your audience to start looking at properties. I think we miss out, and we put a lot of emphasis and focus on lead generation. We miss out on, let's just work with the people that we have and try to get as much information out of them as much as possible. And don't think about that closed transaction and that closed deal. What about just simply getting enough information? And kvCORE can do that for you. So use a tool like this that is gathering insights. What time do they open up their email? What are they interacting to? My text messages, my calls, or are they interacting to my email? What kind of method? What response rate is working? And those are the tools that you want to start to leverage. And then the lead generation tools, just on them, leverage them, put them out there. And you don't have to set anything up, because the beautiful part about kvCORE and inside real estate team is that they do all of the work for you, especially if you have a bit of budget. They do all the setup with Facebook ads, and now with EXP's making a rain program, which is a Google ads concept, which is a completely separate department inside EXP Realty that does the full setup of your Google ads for you. And Google ads, and we know this, Mike, it's not easy to understand. And if you're not in the space running ads, it's not easy to set up something like that. So you can leverage these systems and just plug them in. So when these ads are running, they immediately get inputted into your CRM. And guess what? You have all of the nurturing tools, which I'll show you in a second, already on and already activated. So they immediately gets nurtured. And lastly, I just wanted to touch on, keeping your database simplified, is your CRM being organized. I think people just put in all of their contacts, but there's no real, system in the way that they look at their audience. Because when you ask a real estate agent, who do you want to help? They're like, everybody. It's like, no, there's somebody who's, different behavior types, different types of leads, like buyer, seller, the renter, their journey. Are they a lead from prospecting? Are they a new lead that came from an ad? Where did they come from? What source? Because when you start to look at those insights, you're going to put more emphasis on what works. And so leveraging tools like a hashtag, because the big component of something like a hashtag, it gives you a lot of information. Again, where did you get them from? Who are they? And now the reason why you want to keep this organized is now you can tailor your not automations and your nurturing to actually communicate to the specific hashtag. And that's the missing element here, is that people don't understand their database enough. And so how do you use it on a daily basis? These are really easy, simple way to use them, because by doing them, you're going to understand your business really quickly. And trust me, you know how we just talked about, oh, spend a couple of weeks just learning kvCORE. Trust me, in a couple of days you're doing that, you're not going to even go into looking at trainings, because you already know all the skill set of how to use it.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And I think this is going to be a perfect time for you to start sharing your screen. But I just wanted to kind of echo two things that you said, which is, you know, what gets measured gets managed. And I think this is a really important kind of topic of conversation, because ultimately a lot of people don't know where their business is coming from, which ads are working best. That's why you know, I get this all the time from people that are looking to use Facebook ads or Google ads or YouTube, TikTok ads, whatever, is they're just looking for the perfect ad with the perfect copy, with the perfect sequence that works in every market, every time, for everybody the same. And that just simply doesn't exist. And I think it's important to be able to look at that data and lean into what works best for you, because everybody's got a different style, a different niche, and a different approach to their business. But the other thing that you said, which is really important, and I'll link the other interview below with Jacob, because Jacob Sharman, your partner, really kind of unpacked this on a different level, which is, it's not a lead generation problem, it's a lead conversion problem. You can go watch my channel, Jacob's channel, your channel, and see endless tutorials of how to generate leads for free or with paid ads within the next 24 hours. And that's not the problem. But a lot of people think, you know, I've got 100 leads and I got no deals, so I need 300 leads. No, you need to convert 3 out of the 100. And you don't need more leads. You need to convert the ones that you actually already have. And that's where a lot of people, I think, are looking for that excuse as to why their business isn't growing, because they don't want to put the blame on themselves. So I'll let you share your screen, and then we can start kind of unpacking some of these other details related to how people can implement kvCORE.
Absolutely. And, you know, while I'm getting this opened up, I wanted to just really talk about systems and having to understand systems in place for your business, you know. And I was just recently on a podcast with Connor Steinberg, our business partner, excuse me, and I talked about this very concept of, you know, systems are, you know, we're in control of our technology here. We run these systems run the businesses, but we run the systems. And so I think there's a big disconnect between people understanding how does your strategy, so your goals, connect to your systems, and how does that in turn connect to process and procedures. And this is why I recommend all of you to create simple workflows, you know, create examples of what are tools, because I get it, there's a lot of tools available within kvCORE. How do you use simple tools, and how do you connect each of them to your larger way of, you know, achieving that conversion? And, you know, what is that lead generation tools that you want to use? Who's your audience? You know, what is that method, whether it be a squeeze page, a landing page, whatever it may be. Then think about how are you going to promote it. That's the beautiful thing about Inside Real Estate, is they give you tools and trainings on how to build all of this up. Yeah. But there's a missing link is, okay, how is it going to work for you in your market? What is the content that you're going to actually add and put into your landing pages, and how are you going to promote it? And so anytime I saw a missing gap, I started to fill in with my own strategy and started to share with agents and how to promote it. And the big component is lead capture. Okay, great, you get all these out there to your audience, but are you know, people are looking at your content, but then are you capturing these leads into your database? And that's why I want to use tools that are directly connected to my CRM, so I don't have to do any manual work. And yes, you can use tools like Zapier and stuff to really connect some of your tools, and that's the missing part, is that I found a lot of people are leveraging some of the tools that are already currently on. And then that the next big part is the follow-up. So if you go inside kvCORE, you know, and click on marketing, you'll head to this page with tons of different tools, and there's paid, and then there's also free. And some of the easy, simple one is something like a drip campaign, which kvCORE, Inside Real Estate, they call it smart campaigns. And these are pre-written messages that are automated and that are part of a sequence. And they're written particularly for an audience group, whether there be a buyer, a seller, or an investor, or you can do it for really any audience group if they're veterans or whatever it may be, right? Whether they're a renter, and they're sequenced for a particular time. And these are automated depending on, you know, whether, you know, their behavior, who they are they part of a journey? and who they are as a client. And the beautiful part is you come in to manage campaign. Look how simple it is. And if you want to dive a little bit deeper into this, because I'm going to show this to you very quickly, I recommend check out my YouTube channel. I have all the videos, tons of free videos on me showing the back end of this. And you don't need to hire people to do this. You can do this on your own. If you go to the kvCORE library, these are written by professionals. And trust me, I'm telling you this as a professional who worked in doing content creation like this and copywriting. And these are sequences that are well thought out, because I meet people all the time, my agents that come to me and says, can you help me build a smart campaign or drip campaign for a particular audience group? And immediately I ask them, what's wrong with the one that's available through Inside Real Estate? Have you looked at this? And so, read them, open them up. And, if you were to open something up like a default active buyer, you can see how long these go for, how long they run for, the time period, how are they triggered, and what is the task, who is the communication between, and how to add them to your CRM. So if you go to the kvCORE library and you say add to my library, it'll appear in my campaigns right here. And it's as simple as you clicking to on them. And my strategy is always, because I understand the sequence and I understand the strategy behind building a smart campaign. So I go in and I edit a little bit. I even put in different messages, so I move things around. And as you can see, some of the things that I've edited, but you don't have to do that. It works just the way it is. And you'll be surprised the more you have these running, the way people are responding to them. I even closed a deal from somebody who was being nurtured by a drip campaign, who I may or may have not called. I have to check with Josh, maybe once or twice at the beginning of their stage, and I realized that they were going to buy much later on. They messaged me back on one of my text messages, automated drip that went out 8 months into them being in my database, and I was able to close the deal. So think about it from a perspective of this system is working for you, whether you're sleeping, whether you're out on the road showing properties, it's working for you. And that's the part that I really wanted to touch on,
Definitely. No, I think that's super important, because everybody overcomplicates the smart campaigns and they think like drip campaigns is this enormous undertaking. It's a logistical nightmare. You have to write everything. It's really not the case when you're using a CRM like this. It's just a matter of implementing it.
Absolutely. And even really simple tools. And the reason why I'm showing you nurturing tools is because of going back to that same concept of, we don't have a lead generation problem. We have a lead nurturing problem and follow-up problem. We need to start, every single person in our database needs to start looking at properties. And the more they start looking at things, you'll know. I've had leads that responded back to my emails and tell me, hey, I'm not looking for condos. Can you send me single family homes? Can you send me these type of properties? And that's exactly what you want, response and engagement. So set people up on a behavioral automation. You'd be surprised the amount of people that ask me about this and don't know that kvCORE has this. I think this is one of the most amazing part of kvCORE that a lot of CRMs don't have, is their ability to keep track of the behaviors of your database according to, how many times have they visited, how many properties have they looked at. You're not doing this. The system, the technology is doing that work for you. Imagine you having to manually do this. You can't. So I love how the system is tracking all that for you. So obviously mine looks different than yours may, and why certain things are on is because my business is different, right? My husband and I, we go to investor events and we meet people and we do cold calling and door knocking in particular neighborhoods. And so prospecting, I don't want them to get this information. Same thing with clients who we close deals with, or people that we're currently working with. We don't want to inundate them with messages going out to them because I'm currently working with them. So it's very different in how we're using this. But again, if you want to dive a little deeper into looking at the nuances and the strategy behind all of this, I have in-depth videos on my YouTube channel you can check out. But look how amazing it is, your behavior. So for lead visits your website in 14 days, so when they check back on your site in the last 5 times in the last week, so anytime the behavior changes, there's a pre-written messages that goes out to them, and there's an email and text messages you can see. And personally, I know a lot of people are, oh, I don't like this message, I want to change them. And to me personally, use the ones that are written by professionals. And if you don't have that skill set or that experience of working in this arena, in this industry of looking at copywriting and looking and tailoring content, and Mike, we talk about this, right? Ad writing and all this kind of copy is not easy. And so if you're a brand new agent, you don't have experience with that, I highly recommend using the templates available here And then as you grow and as you start to close deals, as you start to work with people, you'll start to realize, what your brand is and how you show up and how people communicate with you, and you can start to edit the content accordingly. But even simply turning these on and making sure that you're getting them and you're activating them and leveraging these tools are so huge.
Yeah, I think the behavior automation is incredible, because like for me, that's how I got a lot of my online leads to convert into clients. Is, when I was still focused on production, I would when I was door knocking, I'd add people to the database, and then I would set them up on a monthly market report. And unfortunately, it wasn't automated, but whenever I would personally go in and on a monthly basis, I would see their behavior change, in the sense that most people would look at the market report maybe once a month, every month, maybe twice a month. And then 1 month, 8-9 months down the road, they look at it 9, 10, even 13 times, 14 times is one of the highest I've seen in 1 month. And that's a behavioral change, to the point where I reached out and said, hey, have things changed in your life? And they ended up listing with me because I saw that their behavior changed. And I think the fact that this is automated is massive.
Absolutely. And one of the other things that I wanted to show you is, again, going back to that, using and managing your database on a simple way on a daily basis. For the privacy of people in my database, I always, I do these trainings, weekly, and I want to be respectful to them. So I created, a sample one of my information in here just to show you. But look at this. When you have a lead profile open like this, it looks overwhelming for people who haven't used this, but then once you start to use it, look at the amount of information it can give you. Obviously, immediately you can put them, are they a buyer, are they a seller, are they both? What journey are they on? Are they someone who's, new into your database, or how did you get them? Are they a prospect? Are they someone you're currently working with, a client? And then here are the hashtags. You can, these are just examples of me doing trainings that you're seeing so many in there, but I've used them for, where do they come from? Do they come from a Facebook ad? Do they come from a seller guide? Are they an investor? Do they come from my website? Really allocating. And I recommend all of you, and you could do this once, put together, get a Google Doc, a Word document, and put together a naming convention of all the ways you want to track your efforts, so that you can spend more time in doing what works. I don't know about you, Mike. Imagine how many times we talk to real estate agents and we ask them, how's your business going? Immediately the response is all the things that's not working, right? Did you ever hear people talk about all the amazing things that they're doing? No, right? So this is why I recommend start focusing on what's working in your business, because imagine if you did that, how much more your business would grow. Because we're so used to the whole concept of working hard and doing more of the same because it's comfortable, it's familiar. So more of the same is going to give you more of the same results. So until you start to change the way you look at things, because to me is that, and we talk about this in our mastermind calls, Mike, is everything's at risk, right?
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, you're risking something. To me, I don't know about you, I rather risk trying. I rather risk going after my goals, my dreams, my visions, instead of waiting for things to happen, magically. And I think that's why things like hashtag come into perspective, is I'm tracking, and you say this all the time, Mike, if you if you don't manage it, what you don't measure, you can't manage it. And having full control of your business is where this really comes down to. And if you look at the timeline, which is right in the middle, which you can pin a custom note. Remember I mentioned that earlier, that simple ways to manage your database, and just logging in and looking at it. Because when I obviously send this to myself, but when I open up an email, look, it gives you insights, what time they open, when are they available, when are they sitting in front of the computer, your leads, right? And this is huge information. And then the other part, again, going back to the follow-up aspect of things, is I just want to move our camera to the side, is you can add a note right here and pin it to the top. So anytime you have a conversation, if you're on the road and you pull up your mobile app, you can continue that conversation with your lead. But also more actions. Keeping yourself accountable in this business is adding yourself a task. And the other thing that I love doing is because of the amount of, because Josh and I, we're busy. We have a number of different businesses we run now, that I teach agents and I work with my own group. And I'm that person. I truly believe that, showing up for your agents. And I'm someone who, if somebody needs help, I want to genuinely want to be there for them. And I want to help them, because every one of our goals are different. And to me, I started to, and I also, instead of, if I get a lot of leads and things that I can take on, I give them to my agents. So you come here and share contacts with people in your brokerage, and I'm able to transfer leads to my agents. And you can see that by the way I manage this is because I know who have them, is because I categorize everything, which I'll show you in a second. Again, a really simple way for you to run your business is to keep them organized.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm excited to dive into the tracking side of things, but I think as you alluded to, it's really not that difficult in order to, especially for the people that have a smaller amount of leads, to go in there every day and just say, you set yourself a goal and say that every single day, I want to look at my 5 hottest contacts and look at the data, look at when they're opening things and reach out to them or add a new note to them, or, find some way to add value to them. And if you just do like 5 a day, that's going to completely change the trajectory of your business. It's not like you have to go in and you've got 100 leads and you have to deal with all 100 every day. Like, that's not the case. They're all on different timelines. And I think that's why categorizing them is so important, because you're always going to have hot, warm, and cold. And you want to spend the majority of your time dealing with the hot leads. And I'm sure that we'll go into this, but it's really important for people to understand that even if you've got hundreds or thousands of leads, it's not that you have to attend to every single one of them every single day.
No, and that's why tools like this are so important, because it's doing that at a mass level for you, so you don't have to do it. And so, like, if you were to turn on in the right hand corner, if you turn on some of your nurturing like drip campaigns, so you put them on a particular campaign or market report, or even set up search alerts right here, you could start to see their activity in here, again, giving you insights, getting them engaged. And I think if you start with getting in, I'm a big baseball fan, so I'll give you an example of, baseball analogies. Like, it's all about the at-bat opportunity. But remember, you're not trying to hit a home run every time, right? If you try to hit a home run every time, you're going to miss that opportunity. So just get on first base, try to get that hit. Try to do something to move it, because we're working, your business is working like a team. Think about all of the players that are to come and that are going to get you on second base. They're going to get you on third base. And that's what this tool is to get you on the second base, to get you on the third base, not so that you can come home. So how are you going to leverage these tools in a way that's going to help you move along that diamond to get you to home? And to me, I started to get a better understanding of this. And yes, I am an anomaly, and I'm a little bit different because I have all these years of experience working with CRMs, and I understand marketing which is why I have the credibility to teach all of you. But I also understand my business, and what I mean by that is I knew what I was struggling with and what I needed to automate. So for example, how can I use, and automation is really using technology, digital tools to streamline processes in your business. So how do you do that? And so who is your audience, and how do I do it in a targeted way? kvCORE can help you with that. Again, if you start to use hashtags, if you start to categorize where they are, who they are, so they're going to get the right message, right? And manually taking away that manual task of you sitting in front of the computer, because I don't know about you, but I want to show properties, I want to write up offers. That's my favorite things to do. So if you want to do that, and less of sitting there being like, okay, what ad should I do today? What kind of message should I post? Oh no, my client might not like that. Let kvCORE do that for you, right? Or one of the things that Josh and I recently started doing, because of the influx of leads that we were getting, we hired an ISA, so an inside sales agent, which you could do that. We have amazing companies that do that. You can, and that's what they're good at. If you're not a person who likes to, do a lot of the follow-up and prospecting or any of those stuff, early aspect of it, because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, this business is about a relationship. We got to see these people, we got to, make those conversations happen. But if you're uncomfortable with that earlier stage, and you want to do, you want to spend your time on the road, then take advantage of systems that are available to you, right? So understand your business and what you want to pass off, and then lead generation tools that are available within kvCORE, how to leverage that. And then the real-time aspect of things, what I love is that in real time you get information, not a week from now when someone gets into their office and sends you their information. It's to me, it's that competitive advantage. To me, when I have kvCORE, I'm going to be able to scale. It's a backbone for my office, a backbone for my business, and it doesn't matter what market I'm in, I'm constantly in business, and that's the most important here.
Definitely. No, that's perfect. And, I'll let you kind of start diving into the tracking side of things. And then I'm going to pull up a couple interesting stats too, that really piggyback on what you're talking about.
Yeah, and one of the stats that I had that I wanted to share with you is that, remember that 60 million contacts that I mentioned that EXP agents have inside kvCORE? You won't believe that only 5 millions of those contacts are on an active campaign. Mind blowing.
Yeah.
The amount of agents don't even understand the nurturing tools that are available, and 7 million contacts that are on an active search alert. I don't know about you, but the reason why companies and brands spend millions of dollars doing windows decorations and stuff, and putting out displays, because they want their customers to start looking at their product. So we're in our product, we're in the service of selling real estate. So I don't know about you, but I want my leads to start looking at properties, and the moment I start, because that's what I'm using to close on those deals, right? So put them on search alerts. And here's another really cool way to keep your database organized, is come in and start to, I have this open because I'm trying not to share too many personal information of people in my database, but you can filter according to people's status, their contact details, their behavior, what interests that they have, and then you can save these filters at the top. And obviously, you're looking at mine, it looks the way it does because we have a system in place, and we have agents that are helping us with certain leads, and events that we go to, cold calling, making it rain. There's different, who are new leads, and I have it organized, and you can organize them by hot, cold, warm. You can organize them by investors versus buyers, sellers. But again, if you understand your business, yours will start to look a little different, and then you can start to really build your business in a way that it makes sense for you. But I just wanted to show those really simple things. Again, nothing complicated, things that are within your reach that you have available to at our brokerage.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And again, some of the stats I wanted to pull up here, and why, what Tharmila is talking about is so powerful is, 50% of all sales calls happen after the 5th contact, and the majority of agents give up after 2. Well, the reason why so many people give up after 2 is because they're manually doing it every single time. And, it really starts looking at, some of these even more robust stats is, it takes 8 outreaches to reach a prospect. 72% of all sales calls aren't immediately answered. And then you look at 92% of realtors give up after the 4th call, but 80% of prospects say no 4 times before they say yes. So when you start looking at this, you can see the final one I'll kind of touch on is, 83% of prospects who request info don't buy for 3 to 12 months. So when we start looking at this, I think it's important that a lot of agents have a massive lead conversion problem because they're doing it all manually. They have no systems in place. They're not learning the systems, and then they're blaming it on a volume problem of getting more leads. But if you get more leads, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and expecting a different result. If you're not able to convert the leads that you already have, what makes you think getting more leads is an issue? And the funny part about that is, usually if I had somebody that had 100 leads and they weren't converting them, and I gave them 1,000 leads, they'd be so overwhelmed they wouldn't even know where to start. So it's, less is more, and focusing on the quality versus the quantity is where people need to lie. So I think that's incredible, that you've been able to share all that. And, I'm excited to kind of maybe unpack any final pieces of advice that you have for people when it comes to getting started, and, anything that they could start doing immediately in order to get momentum with kvCORE, or any CRM for that matter.
Going back to some of the stats that you were sharing, immediately goes back into the same concept of how many agents that we speak to that think that then when they go to a different brokerage, they're going to expect a different result. Yeah. Same thing. We can find top producers at every brokerage. So it's who you are, but it's the vehicle. If you are somebody doing great, but you want to take it to the next level, then you come to a brokerage like ours, where it gives you a vehicle to completely do your business and customize it the way you like it, right? For me, I can do deals, but I can teach, I can help agents, I can do all the things that I love and more at a brokerage like this, where I wouldn't be able to. And if I were to bring someone to the brokerage, I get paid, and I can still be a mom. I can still do all the things without feeling guilty, right? Because I have all these tools to automate the way I want to do my business and how I want to grow. And one of the things that I want to mention, I do have a book club if you want to join for real estate agents. And I put a hold on it during this time because a lot of people are busy during the summertime, but find me, it's on Facebook. I'm the admin of it. And I read too many books, and I'm going to sound like Connor Steinberg, our business partner here, when I talk like this, but seek failure. We're so and I think CRM is a great way to start. When you're having frustration with it, that pressure creates diamond concept. Seek failure. Failure belongs in the process. When things aren't working is where you get insights, it gives you information. And that's where you move from being fearful to having complete faith in your business because you put trust in action. And I think it's completely that. And I think, I met with an agent a couple of days ago from the greater Toronto area, actually Southern Ontario. And he asked me, hey, after this many years, doing the work that you've been doing and being in real estate, what are some failures? And I told him, I thought that working hard and doing the same thing that I was comfortable with doing would give me lots of different results and make me, a millionaire. And it was further from the truth. And I realized that now I meditate more. I told Josh, I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to get a personal trainer because I'm not into working out. I do yoga and I don't do lifting and all that stuff. And I want to do it properly. And I said, well, once I close X amount of deals, when I do this at this phase of my life, I'll do it. And it might be too late. So it's been a couple of months. I've been working with my trainer. I've lost 15 pounds. I work out daily. We have a meal plan. Josh and we had trouble cooking all the time in different time period. So we started getting HelloFresh, start to leverage tools that are available within your reach that if it isn't working for you, put systems in place. Everything, Mike, in our house, we have a system. So, and I learned that from reading books like Atomic Habits, Compound Effect, doing little things at a time that'll take you to a bigger impact. And I think that's what it came down to. Even our laundry, Josh gets up early in the morning, he puts it to wash, I get up, I put it to the dryer. And before we do anything else, before the kids come home, we have the laundry put away. And thinking about in that concept, and I know I'm using such an everyday example, but that's exactly how your business should be. Get the hardest things out of the day early in the morning, and we talk about all of that and building better habits for yourself, and go learn how to do that.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest piece of advice I can give to people, especially after listening to something like this, and making sure you go check out Tharmila's tutorials on her channel is if you're not where you want to be in your business right now, you need to slow down and speed up. And the worst thing that people do is they're going to look at this and they're going to immediately go to their CRM and they're going to go down the rabbit hole and they're not going to go in with a plan. And I think I can, the way that I've been able to build my skill set to be able to build a pretty successful, 7-figure year business is taking this step back and saying, okay, for this month, for the next 4 weeks, my CRM is my number one priority. So I'm going to spend 1-2 hours a day in that CRM. And we talk about the concept of 100 hours, where if you put 100 hours into any activity, you'll be better than 95% of everybody else at that activity. Well, if you spend 100 hours, which is 16 minutes a day for a year, or 32 minutes a day for 6 months, or you could start to see that if you spend a couple hours a day only for about a month, you'll be better than 95% of agents at leveraging their CRM. And we all talked about, and you echoed it earlier, which is 20% of agents are doing 80% of the business. Well, if you're in the 95 percentile, now you're going to see how life-changing that can truly be. So my recommendation is to look at this and say, okay, I don't care about YouTube. I don't care about TikTok. I don't care about Facebook ads, Google ads, anything. The only thing I care about for the next 4 weeks is my CRM. Once you get that dialed in, then look at learning some of these other lead strategies to bring people into your CRM. Because if you're bringing people into a broken system, all those efforts, all those dollars are going to go to waste. So you want to get the foundation built first before we start going. So the next thing that I'll say is, what can people expect when partnering with you? You've obviously partnered with us, and, I'd love to kind of unpack why you joined. You kind of touched on it, but I'd love to kind of hear where you're at.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, and I've said this in my last interview with you, and I've said this before in many interviews, is that, we're good at doing great things. So we all have our strength, but we're not all great at everything. And to me, even though I had, understanding of marketing, understanding of social media, I used to write hundreds of marketing plans on a yearly basis. I used to oversee over 12 social media accounts on a day-to-day basis. And I had all these skill set, but I still put aside my ego, and I wanted to partner with people who was doing it at a next level, on a different level in this industry, and people like you. And that was a complete game changer for me, is to open your eyes to looking at things. How are these people succeeding, and how could I get a part of this, especially when they're an open playbook and they're sharing everything. And so many brokerages, that is not the norm. I meet with real estate agents, we both do on a daily, weekly basis, and you have no idea the amount of money people spend on trainings that we teach on a day-to-day basis. And it boggles my mind. And partner with people, and I love, to me, is that I keep showing up, I keep having to, it's about being plugged in, it's about being part of the culture. And you know, and you, once you understand what you want out of your life, out of having a vision, having a goal for yourself, the universe will, it's the law of attraction, right? That you will automatically attract people like this. I told Josh, you know, I think you and I had a very clear plan of where we want to get in life, and people like Mike showed up in our life, people like EXP showed up in our life, and I wasn't looking for EXP, right? But it naturally came because the universe knew my goal was far beyond better than that boutique brokerage that was walking distance from my house that I almost joined, right? Complete game changer when I joined a group like this, because now I can virtually, I can the comfort of my home, I have time with my children, the most things that are most important to us, I can do that because I'm at this brokerage. And a couple of weeks ago, and we have so much fun. You know, I've been to, now it was my 5th EXP event. I've been to Build in Dallas. I've been to Shareholder Summit in Orlando. This is my 3rd EXP Con in Vegas, and next year I can't wait to do it in Miami. And to me, is the and I keep showing up is because it's always worth it, and it's actually priceless, you know. And when you join our group, it's really about, you know, the past couple of years really opened my eyes. And to me, is being a leader is about how can you make other people leaders. And to me, I want to sit with you, I want to find out what your goals are, and not a leader in terms of having to grow your own team. You can, and I'll definitely help you with that. But how could you be a leader in your own life, in your own business? And that's to have tools. How do you better use the systems and tools in front of you? How to have full control of technology, even if you're not very good at it? And that's why I created a DIY setup course. I want people to learn how to set up their kvCORE. Every single agent that comes into our class, into our group, even in the Wolf Pack, you know exactly how to use kvCORE, because we have everything plugged in for you. I have a 70+ video course I made on how to leverage kvCORE above and beyond what you're going to see inside the Inside Real Estate, the training that they give, because I take my own experiences and things that have worked for me and applied into these trainings. And they're simple, they're easy to follow. And then we also do our weekly mastermind calls, and we're going to do them a little bit differently now to kind of be an open open door office style, where I want to really unpack people's issues, because we have hundreds of videos. And Mike, between you and I and Connor, with all the past weekly mastermind calls we've done, there isn't a topic you're not going to find in our database. Funnels, prospecting, and alongside my business partner Jacob Sharman, we built a platform called kvSocial, which has any type of social media strategy that you can take. And after especially complementing your course, Mike, every single agent, the moment they come into our group, I tell them, go inside the Social Agent Academy, go through every single course, and then start to use Groovy in as a complement to it, because it's an aid, it's kind of a toolbox to help you with your business, and it gives you strategy. And that's one thing, if you haven't understood from my trainings, if you watched my YouTube videos, I have free master classes. If you go on tavaresrajasingam.ca, my website, you'll find lots of tools there, lots of free tools for you to grow your business. And those are just the tip of the iceberg of what you get when you meet with us in our group, and how much we care. I think it's really about, our founder Glenn Sanford said this, and I know you've said this, and Connor said this, and in order for us to become billionaires, we need to help a lot of people become millionaires. And so for us to become successful, and the same concept of Isaac Newton, right? I was able to see further is because I stood on the shoulders of giants. And it's that whole concept, is that why reinvent the wheel when I can stand on the shoulders of your shoulder and look beyond of the concept you created, when why go in and reinvent the wheel? And that's why I'm so grateful to be in partnership with people like you, people like Connor, people like in our upline, because we are so concentrated on our business, we forget the not to go on a tangent, but the immense connection we have at this brokerage, and even people that aren't in our upline or downline, like at the brokerage. Why do you think I spend my Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time teaching other EXP agents? Because that's our brokerage. Our brokerage isn't about just silos. It's about working together, collaboration over competition. And I think that is what's going to drive us forward. Join our book club, folks. You don't have to be part of our brokerage. You don't have to be part of EXP. Coming to our Friday Connect training. My business partner Jacob and I run this every single week at 12 p.m. Eastern time. It doesn't matter where you are, what country you're in. Join us there, what brokerage you're at. We don't care. We talk about systems, process, lead generation, marketing, farming, name it. We talk about it there. And if we don't know it, bring in people that are doing it at the highest level possible and plugged in. It's called FridayConnect.net, and stay connected and get plugged into everything that is literally right in front of you.
Yeah, I love that. You guys provide such a wealth of knowledge and experience. And I think, a lot of agents didn't have the last 12 months that they were hoping for. And I think, I always talk about the concept that if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you don't change your environment, if you don't change your strategy, the next 12 months probably aren't going to look any better and probably will end up looking even worse based on where the market is going. So, if you're looking at going forward and you need to realign with people that are going to actually pour into you, share the best strategies, give you the blueprint, walk you through it, then this is the place that you want to be, especially looking at partnering with Tharmila and her incredible group. So Tharmila, thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's always a pleasure. I try to speak a little slower this time. Hopefully people understand.
No, that's perfect. Well, guys, thank you so much again. I'll link all of Tharmila's incredible links below. There's a wealth of them, so you want to make sure to take a moment to check them all out. And if you have any other questions about kvCORE, drop it in the comments, and I know Tharmila will be in there actively responding to each and every one of them. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.
Thank you, everybody. Close some deals, guys. Let's go.